Thanks for joining Sales with Suli, a mom of 3 who spent the last 12 summers knocking doors. Welcome to my podcast where I talk about all things women, the ups and downs of my journey, and what it takes to find success on and off the doors. Enjoy this episode. Welcome back, friends. I feel like it's been a minute since I've been home and actually not super rushed to kind of get some content out there. So for those of you guys who have been following me and sticking around, thanks. And I'm hoping to kind of put more intentional content out there for you guys as I'm kind of in a slower pace of my life in comparison to during the summer and running a full-on team. But one of the concepts that I actually want to talk about today, and I feel like we haven't, or maybe I haven't done enough of, is just talking about leadership. I kind of want to talk about my failures in first running a team and kind of where I'm at now. So being in the door-to-door space for about 13 summers, of those 13 summers, I either ran or helped run a team for 5 summers. So 5 out of the 13 summers, I was a quote-unquote team leader. And looking back, I legitimately, to me, every single one of those times that I ran a team or helped run a team was a failure, for sure. And a lot of times when we're looking at the door-to-door industry or just like the space that we're at, more often than not, we are going to find men on the leaderboards, men as team leaders, men as regionals, men as VPs, men basically in every single platform that there is in the door-to-door space. And I felt like I kind of bought into it in the sense of that's just their thing. And this being my 6th time running a team during the summer, I have found that the 6th time for me was the charm. So I'm going to kind of talk about some of the tips that I felt like has truly helped me to enjoy being a team leader, to enjoy actually running a team. I feel like we just, as women, we buy into the misconception. I know I did. We buy into the misconception that we cannot lead a team. We cannot run a team because reps aren't going to look up to us. We're just not going to be able to compartmentalize or multitask or do all the things that we need to and be emotionally prepped to deal with all the drama that it takes to be able to run a successful team. I remember the second summer that I did run a team. So my first summer, I did 316 pest control accounts. And then the following summer, I co-managed a team with another team leader. And I felt like I just, first off, recruited all the wrong people. Just wanting to help and thinking that they would do well when in reality, there were probably some people I shouldn't have had on the team, which led to negativity, which led to a lot of things, including myself, just trying to learn and understand what it takes to be a new leader in the industry, only having one summer under my belt. And so during that, my first time actually running a team, a lot of the guys that were on the team, they were just younger. And I bought in to the sense of their male sales reps are only going to look up to male leaders. Even female reps are only going to look up to male leaders. And I was one of those. For the first few summers that I was in the door-to-door space, I just felt like the only people that I was going to be respecting or the only people that were dominating the industry were men. And unfortunately, because I bought into that, I had the same mindset to where, 1, I didn't want to have a bunch of women on my team. 2, I just didn't want to deal with the cattiness. And I just felt like during those times, I had a scarcity mindset. I didn't feel like there was going to be enough space to be able to have success for every single person on the team, as well as multiple leaders. And so because I bought into the simple fact that only men are going to be awesome in these leadership positions, or men are only going to be the figures that other sales reps are going to be looking up to in the industry, I basically began my own failures just with that mindset that I was having. And so that first summer, I had about, 21 reps or whatnot. And of those 21 reps, I don't even think half of them had even done 100 accounts. And so to have to deal with housing costs and have to deal with all the struggles that it takes during the summer of, car partnerships, trying to figure out housing and who's going to do well with each other. It created this mindset for myself that, one, I couldn't emotionally handle it. Two, I was just not good enough to be a team leader. And hey, maybe regionals, VPs, CEOs of door-to-door industries just need to be men because they're just less emotional. When I have finally figured out that it is the complete opposite. So that second year that I did run a team, because of my mindset, it led to my failure. And then every other summer after that, with me choosing to basically have that mindset of there just aren't women team leaders out there. There just aren't successful women leaders who are running teams where men and women are both successful and they're one of the top in the industry or one of the top in their own specific companies. And if you are one of those females out there who did run successful teams year after year right out the gate, please reach out to me because I would love to get some feedback from you and also be able to share some of those tips with other women who want to run teams. And so this episode is for those of you women who have the desire to want to run a team. This episode is for for those of you women who enjoy recruiting, who see the vision of building and growing. And I have finally gotten into that space, into that mindset over the last 3 years, finally shifting into the mindset of abundance and just realizing that there's just so much out there for us as women to be able to share with each other, even with our male coworkers. I don't want to make this about men and women in the space, but what I do want to make this about is for those of us women who are in that scarcity mindset of there isn't enough space for me to be able to run a team. There isn't enough space for me to be a leader. There isn't enough tools and tips and trainings for me to be just as successful, if not more successful, than someone sitting next to us. And so for me, this past summer, honestly, I wasn't supposed to run a team. This has legitimately been the first summer ever in my 13 years. Well, I guess so 6 of those have been running a team that I have actually found joy in running a team. I have found so much joy in being able to give back to the members on my team that I just kind of want to share some of those tips and some of the things that I want to leave behind. And those of you who are right now in the off season planning for your next summer, you guys are maybe considering hey, should I run a team, or can I be a leader in this space? Is there going to be enough space for me? And first of all, you're going to be the one who's going to be the director or producer of your success. If you want to be a team leader, if you want to be a leader, it's going to start with your mindset and kind of the things that you're going to be telling yourself on a regular basis. And so one of the tips that I do want to go over is first, it's going to start with you and your mindset. If you tell yourself that your reps would never respect you or look up to you, it'll show in the way that you lead. And for me, even looking back on this summer, when I first started, my co-manager is a guy, and a lot of times I use it as a crutch. I'm like, holy heck, I want to be able to have a male co-manager with me because I feel like men are just going to look up to them. In reality, I finally told myself, look, I'm amazing. I'm fierce. I'm a boss, and people are going to look and respect me for me. I don't need to have a crutch. I don't need to have that mindset that in order for me to success or in order for me to find success or in order for me to lead, that I do need to have a male leader or male co-manager with me. Like, I am enough. And it was once I'm adopting that mindset, I just saw how much better that I was able to do and truly give back to my reps, because I finally accepted that I'm a great leader. I finally accepted that, yes, I am made to be in this space. I am made to be able to lead. The second tip that I want to give for those of you women out there who are wanting to run a team, for those of you women who are wanting to recruit, is start with recruits who know you and know your work ethic and your vision. The reason that I say this, and it's even happened in the summer and years past, like, how many times have you been on a team where you're just talking crap about your team leader? Like, they made a mistake that day, or they happened to, kind of change things around because the dynamics were different, or area was different, or something in the company had changed, and the team leader had to make adjustments, and the reps started saying all the negative things behind their backs, or going and talking to the car partner and bringing up concepts and things about the team leader that just became cancerous to the team. And here's a tricky part, is a lot of us women, we can be catty. We can enjoy gossiping, and we can enjoy focusing on the things that are wrong with another female rep. Like, we can focus on the things that are going to be wrong in our male leaders, but how many of us are taking the time when other car partners or when other teammates or when other leaders are bringing negative things to your table? How often are we the ones just listening, not engaging, but then bringing up the positive aspects about that situation? And the reason that I bring that up and why I say start with the recruits who know your work ethic, because it doesn't matter how great of a leader that you think you are or great of a leader that you know that you are, there is always going to be gossip. There is always going to be negativity said. And so if you have recruits who know your work ethic and who know the vision that you are creating for your team, whether you're there or not, you're always going to have someone that's going to have your back behind closed doors. And that was huge for me to see this summer, because recruiting this summer had just become so organic, in the sense that people were just truly curious in my transition from pest control to solar, that they just kind of like knew the work ethic that I had from where I came from. Even though I knew nothing about the current industry that I'm in, they wanted to follow because they knew my work ethic. And so as I was so new to this industry, I made a lot of mistakes. I was constantly trying to evolve and constantly trying to change to keep up with the number of people that were coming on the team, with the new things that I was learning on a daily basis, that I knew not everyone was always happy, that I knew not everyone was always going to be satisfied with the things that I was teaching or doing. But because I started with reps who knew my vision, I always had reps behind my back who were going to stick up for me. And so that definitely helped the dynamics on the team, to where it was just like, okay, yeah, Suli made a mistake here, or Suli could have done this better. But because I know that the type of person that she is, I know the vision that she has for the team, I trust her, and I know that her intentions are well. So again, for those of you women who are looking to recruit or wanting to just run a team, just start with people who respect you. Start with people who are going to have your back when you aren't there, because those things will just take care of itself. Number 3, be open with your own personal goals. Share what you want to accomplish with yourself and with the team. And this didn't hit me until this year. One of the nights that we had, the majority of reps on my team are women. And so we do a lot more talking, and we are definitely a lot more in tune with our emotional side. And I thought that that was a hindrance, that women are more empathetic, that women are more in tune with their emotional side. But what we need to realize and own is that is going to be part of our success, is how empathetic that we can be with each other, our teammates, and those around us. And so one of the nights I just knew that all my reps were just having like a hard time with just the changes, moving from Airbnb to Airbnb, and just like kind of like the structure and just different things that were changing, that I knew that I needed to just sit down with them and just ask, like, what is it that they were wanting? And one of the things that I loved that the reps had brought up was like, what is your vision? Like, what's your dream? Like, you are doing amazing right now. Like, why aren't you like telling the CEO like this, like, hey, we need this, we need demands, we need to do all these kinds of things. And I felt like in order to be relevant in a company, in order to be relevant on a team, you must first show that you're able to take care and resolve the issues in your team, that you have to show relevance by, yes, you need to produce. And my team did exactly that. But what they didn't know is that I wanted to wait until the end of the summer when the numbers were final, when the company just seen like how much value myself and my reps were going to be bringing, that it was going to be like, hey, I think that we should change this. I think that we could do a little better in this aspect of the company. And they're going to be more inclined to help make those changes or figure out ways and solutions, because one, they just saw the production and the relevance that myself as a leader and those on the team had. And so as I shared that with my girls and the reps on the team, that I'm like, look, I know that there are a lot of things that need improving. I know that there's a lot of things that needs to be fixed, but it needs to start with us. And I am waiting until the end of the summer where, you know, we're able to resolve, we're able to reflect, we're able to continue to find success and overcome some of these hurdles, that it's like, hey, company, this is what I want to be able to bring to the table. And I just saw the amount of relief that it had happened with some of these like reps, that I was like, okay, we got your back, Sulie. Like, thank you for sharing your vision. And I told them exactly what I wanted to see from them individually. And it just humanized me a lot more, that it just made them like more excited. They knew that there was going to be more obstacles that was going to be coming. That was probably, you know, we still had a few blitzes left after having this conversation. And I felt like there was just a lot less issues or a lot less talk on the things that were happening negatively for the team and for the company, because I addressed like what my visions were. I addressed the fact of our relevance and what we needed to do to be able to earn the ear of those leaders in the company. And again, it's going to start from you first going and recruiting people who have your back, who have a work ethic, and who will talk you up even when you're not there. Lastly, be coachable. Get ready to take criticism and learn how to not emotionally react. That's still something that I'm still having a hard time doing. I still emotionally react, but what I have found, when you are making the space to mentally prep yourself for your team, it's going to be a lot easier to take the criticism. Like, I'm looking back to those years that I failed as a team leader, and I didn't take criticism well. When a rep wanted to blame me or the situation for something that happened on the team, I was super quick to point out their faults. I was super quick to emotionally react and was like, well, did you even like go knock doors? Did you even go and like XYZ? Whereas this year being one of my favorite years, actually like running a team, I feel like I was actually criticized the most. And had I not been in an emotional, stable place to be able to accept it, make the changes, apologize, reflect, and to be able to move forward, I don't think I'd want to be able to continue running this team. But I am super grateful for each member of my team who had showed up for me this summer and pointed out my flaws, pointed out the things that I could do better, pointed out the things that the company could do better, because those same people are the reasons why I'm wanting to make more positive changes for myself, for the team, and for the industry and the space that I'm at. And so again, for those of you women out there who are wanting to build, who are wanting to create space as a team leader, first start with yourself and your mindset. What are you going to be doing right now in the off season? And there was a podcast I was listening to the other day, and I love the concept that he brought up. Coda, Run Seed Solar. he brings up how we call this our off season right now. And we say off season because it's not during the summer where we're working hard. He calls it our training season. And I love that. And it hit me super hard that I'm like, I want to adopt that mindset. And so for those of you women who are wanting to lead a team, what are you doing in this training season to be able to be the leader that you are looking for? I know for me, one of the biggest things, and one thing that I'm hoping that my reps will always take, is just the little things. Like the little, I felt like all the years that I've tried to run a team or have been on other teams, that I never saw the importance of just the little things matters that the team leaders does. And I truly made that an effort like this summer. And I think it was bigger for me than it was for my reps, you know, in the sense of like, I wanted to be at the morning meetings before my reps so that I can give them high fives. You know, on Saturdays when we would have like our raffle tickets, I wanted to be able to have donuts or granola bars for every single person on the team, because one, I didn't know if anyone had breakfast, during that time, or taking the time, on your drive home from your area or whatnot, like checking in on your reps, or just like, hey, how was your day? Asking them about their goals that has nothing to do with sales whatsoever. I have just adopted this mindset of the little things really do make a difference. And I feel like us as women in the industry, we're really good at that, where we focus on the small details. It's just going to make all the big difference. And so again, as a recap, for those of you women who are in your training season and planning on recruiting or building teams, start with the reps who trust you, know you, and can back you up. Start with your mindset. Like, what coaching are you getting? Like, who are you reaching out to being coached? I know for myself, I have some things lined up where at the women's retreat that we had this past month, I broke down in the sense of like, I didn't feel like I'm a good leader or wanted to be a leader because I'm in a position in myself where I am looking to be coached. I'm looking for a female coach who could help me to be in that mindset. And I've decided, like, why not me for women in the industry? Why not become the person that other women are looking for? And so I'm gonna leave that for you women out there. Like, why not be the women leader that you were wanting yourself? Okay. Be coachable, be open with your goals, make sure that your teammates know how much you care, like exactly what it is that you're wanting to do for yourself as well as for the team as well. I know that as we continue to make space for ourselves and for our own mindset, whether you want to be a team leader, whether you want to just be like an awesome recruiter, whether you want to just be an awesome rep in the industry, it's all going to start with yourself. So take this training season that we currently are in right now and focus on some of those mindset trainings, focus on some of those coachable moments or coachable trainings to be able to help you to be a better leader. But most importantly, don't make the mistake that I did in downplaying your worth, downplaying the value that you have as a leader. Don't think that you need a man to hold you hand in hand to be able to run a team. I had that crutch way too long, and I even started my summer off having that and realizing, like, I can stand up, like I can run a team, like people will respect me, people will find success because of me, and they're gonna find success because of you as well. Thanks for taking the time to tune in. If I've added any kind of value to your thoughts on knocking doors, please share this podcast with another female rep. Until next time, know that you are capable, you are valued, and most importantly, you are enough.